Cancer. There's a specific kind of stillness that only shows up in the late hours after the world has stopped talking to you. And I don't mean loneliness, I don't even mean solitude. I mean the kind of stillness where you finally hear yourself, where the noise of the day fades and the quiet, honest part of you takes its place at the table. Cancer, that's the kind of stillness this reading is speaking into today. Not because the near future is quiet, but because your inner life is asking to be heard. And the story your cards are telling requires you to slow down enough to listen. Hi, and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today. Before we begin, I want to gently remind you that this reading is intended for reflection, self-awareness, and personal insight. It is not a substitute for professional advice, so please always trust your own guidance above anything I share here today. All right, Cancer, this reading is one of those readings that I want to walk into slowly with you because the arc it reveals is significant, not in a dramatic way, in a soft, honest, meaningful way. And I really believe you will feel this settle into you as we move through it. I'm going to draw the first three cards together. I want you to look at them as a whole for a moment. Our first three cards are the Chariot, the Five of Cups, and the Page of Pentacles. Cancer, that combination is beautifully layered because it represents movement, emotional integration, and a fresh beginning that has practical roots. It's asking you to pay attention to the way your inner life and your outer life are quietly changing at the same time. Let's move into each card one by one. Let's begin with the Chariot. The Chariot is one of the most misunderstood cards because people often associate it with aggressive forward motion, but that's not really its truth. The Chariot represents deliberate, chosen forward movement. It's the movement of someone who has decided to move because they finally see clearly where they want to go. Cancer, in your near future, this card is telling me that a wave of deliberate movement is coming into your life. It might feel unfamiliar at first because you're a sign that values steadiness. But this movement is not going to feel like being pushed. It's going to feel like being pulled forward by something you actually want, something you've quietly been waiting for, something you've been considering longer than you may realize. There's a psychological concept called intentional momentum. It refers to the state where a person begins acting from a place of clear internal alignment rather than external pressure. Research shows that intentional momentum is one of the most stabilizing forms of forward motion because it doesn't drain the person the way reactive motion does. Cancer, this is essentially what the Chariot is telling me. Your near future is going to give you the opportunity to move from a place of clarity, not pressure. And this movement is going to feel different than any other momentum you've experienced recently. Here's a practical suggestion. When you feel that pull of forward motion arise in the next few weeks, don't second guess it, trust it. Because as a Cancer, you tend to slow yourself down out of caution. This time, the momentum is aligned. You don't need to hold yourself back, you need to allow yourself to move. Now let's move to the second card, which is the Five of Cups. Cancer, this card carries a specific emotional texture that I want to explain with a lot of care. The Five of Cups is not a card of tender feeling. It's a card of emotional processing. It represents the moment when you look back at something that hurt you or something that didn't turn out the way you hoped, and you finally begin to feel the full truth of it. In your near future, this card is telling me that something you've been carrying emotionally is going to reach a resolution point. Not a dramatic release. A quiet, soft reckoning. It might involve grief, quiet disappointment, or acknowledgement of something you never fully allowed yourself to feel. As a water sign ruled by the moon, your emotional currents run deeper than most can grasp, and that depth is precisely why you tend to hold your emotions until you're truly ready to sit with them. Then, when the moment comes, you don't process them dramatically. You process them internally, gently, and thoroughly. The Five of Cups is telling me that in your near future, there will be a soft moment when something you've been sitting with quietly is finally ready to be integrated. There is a psychological concept called emotional metabolism. It refers to the way emotions are processed, transformed, and released when a person feels safe enough to actually sit with them. Research shows that emotional metabolism is a critical part of long-term well-being, because when emotions are not metabolized, They get stored and continue affecting the person subtly for years. Cancer, the Five of Cups, is telling me that your near future is going to allow you to metabolize something you've been holding. And when you do, you're going to feel a lightness that you haven't felt in a long time. Here's a practical suggestion. When that emotional moment arrives, don't avoid it. Don't rush it. Don't distract yourself from it. Let it come. Let it wash through. Cancer, you have a natural capacity for depth. Let yourself use it, because what you release will make room for what comes next. And now the third card of this trio, the Page of Pentacles. This card is beautiful because it brings the entire trio full circle. The Page of Pentacles represents a new beginning that has real, practical, physical roots. It's the card that shows up when a person is about to enter a new phase of learning, growing, or investing in something meaningful. In your near future, Cancer, this card is telling me that a new project, opportunity, skill, or interest is entering your life, something you're going to want to explore. Something that offers you not just excitement, but stability. Something that gives you a sense of purpose and structure. And this is important, Cancer. You are a sign that thrives on stability. When something new enters your life that carries the potential for long-term growth and grounding, your whole system aligns with it. The Page of Pentacles is telling me that this alignment is coming into focus in your near future. There is a psychological concept called growth-oriented curiosity. It refers to the natural pull that arises within a person when they encounter something new that resonates with their deeper values. Research shows that growth-oriented curiosity is one of the strongest indicators of meaningful life direction. Cancer, this card is essentially telling me that something is going to spark that kind of curiosity within you. Not everything, but something. And it will feel like a small seed that has the potential to grow into something significant. Here's a practical suggestion. When this new spark appears in your life, don't dismiss it because it's small. Don't dismiss it because it's unfamiliar. Don't dismiss it because you're not sure if you have the time or energy for it. Sit with it. Give it a little space. See if it grows into something meaningful. Because the Page of Pentacles is very rarely wrong. It arrives when the universe is quietly handing you an invitation to grow. So look at the story these three cards are telling. The Chariot is giving you deliberate forward movement. The Five of Cups is inviting emotional metabolism. And the Page of Pentacles is offering you a fresh, grounded new beginning. Cancer, that is a soulful trio. It's honoring your interior world and offering you real, tangible steps forward. Let's continue. All right, Cancer, let's pull the next three cards together. Our next three cards are the Emperor, the Three of Swords, and the Ten of Pentacles. Cancer, this combination is powerful because it captures a very specific arc, the arc of authority, honesty, and long-term stability. This is where the cards begin to speak to how your life is being restructured from the inside out. Let's walk through each one. Let's begin with the Emperor. Cancer. The Emperor is one of the most grounded and stabilizing cards in the entire deck. He represents structure, authority, discipline, wisdom, and the ability to build something that lasts. And when he shows up in a near future spread, he's often saying it's time for you to become the architect of your life. In your near future, this card is telling me that you're being called into a more grounded, more organized, more clear version of yourself. Not rigid, not authoritarian, just clear. And Cancer, you are actually beautifully suited for Emperor energy. You have a natural sense of structure, order, patience, and slow, deliberate building. The Emperor is essentially reminding you of a quality you already have and asking you to lean into it more consciously. This might look like restructuring your daily routine. This might look like setting a boundary you've been avoiding. This might look like taking greater ownership of your professional life. This might look like establishing better systems for your finances, your time, or your relationships. There is a psychological concept called executive functioning. It refers to the mental processes that help a person plan, organize, prioritize, and follow through on tasks. Research shows that executive functioning is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success and life satisfaction. The Emperor is essentially the archetypal expression of executive functioning in your life. He's telling me that your near future is going to invite you to strengthen this part of yourself in a meaningful way. Not in a way that exhausts you, but in a way that grounds you. A practical suggestion for the Emperor energy. In the next few weeks, identify one area of your life that has been feeling scattered or unstructured, and gently create one small system to strengthen it. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as small as choosing a specific time to work on something important, or as small as clearing one part of your physical space. These small acts of structure will bring the Emperor's energy into your life in a way that supports you. Now let's move to the Three of Swords. In Cancer, I want to walk carefully with this card because it often shows up in a way that catches people off guard. The Three of Swords represents emotional honesty, and more specifically, it represents the moment when a person acknowledges an emotional truth they've been avoiding. Cancer, in your near future, this card is telling me that a soft, honest realization is going to rise to the surface. Not a difficulty, not a rupture, a realization. It might be a truth about someone in your life. It might be a truth about a situation you've tolerated too long. It might be a truth about yourself, something you've known but haven't wanted to name. This isn't going to be painful in the sense of being cruel. It's going to be honest in a way that ultimately relieves you. There is a psychological concept called constructive disclosure. It refers to the process of allowing yourself to reveal a difficult truth to yourself in a way that leads to healing rather than difficulty. Research shows that constructive disclosure is one of the most powerful mechanisms of emotional growth. Because when a person acknowledges an emotional truth clearly, they immediately gain access to more agency, more clarity, and more direction. Cancer, the Three of Swords, is essentially telling me that your near future is going to give you this kind of honest realization. And even though it may sit heavily for a moment, it will ultimately create space for something better. Here's a practical suggestion for this energy. When the realization comes, do not resist it. Do not dismiss it. Do not talk yourself out of it. Sit with it. Feel it fully. And then ask yourself, what does this truth mean for me now? That question will lead you into your next step. And now the third card of this trio, the Ten of Pentacles. Cancer, this card is truly beautiful because it grounds the emotional weight of the Three of Swords into a sense of long-term stability and rootedness. The Ten of Pentacles represents legacy, foundation, financial, and emotional stability, and the culmination of long-term efforts. It's the card that shows up when a person is finally starting to see how the small, quiet efforts they've been making are beginning to accumulate into something meaningful. In your near future, this card is telling me that stability is beginning to take root in your life in a real way. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily. This might look like a sense that your finances are aligning. This might look like a sense that your relationships are deepening. This might look like a sense that your home life is stabilizing. This might look like a sense that your professional life is entering a more sustainable phase. Cancer, you are a sign that deeply understands the power of long-term investment. You value steadiness, groundedness, and the slow accumulation of meaningful results. The Ten of Pentacles is essentially the archetype of these values coming to life. It's telling me that in your near future, you're going to begin seeing the fruits of your patience. There's a psychological concept called delayed gratification maturity. It refers to the developmental capacity to invest in long-term rewards rather than short-term satisfaction. Research shows that this capacity is one of the strongest predictors of life success, financial stability, and emotional resilience. Cancer, you have this capacity in abundance. And the Ten of Pentacles is telling me that in your near future, this capacity is going to begin paying off in tangible ways. Here's a practical suggestion. When you notice a small sign of stability entering your life, don't rush past it. Pause and honor it, because these small signs are the beginning of a much larger pattern of long-term flourishing. So look at the story these three cards are telling. The Emperor is calling you into structure and authority. The Three of Swords is inviting emotional honesty. And the Ten of Pentacles is offering you the beginning of long-term stability. This is a beautiful and grounded trio, Cancer, and it prepares you meaningfully for the final three cards of this reading. All right, Cancer, let's pull the last three cards. Our final three cards are the Star, the Two of Cups, and the World. Cancer, this trio is one of the most hopeful and healing endings a reading can have, because it moves you into renewed hope, deep connection, and long-term completion. Let's walk through each one. Let's begin with the Star. The star, Cancer, is one of the most beautiful cards in the deck. It represents renewed hope, quiet faith, restored clarity, and a sense of possibility that returns after a period of hardship. In your near future, this card is telling me that your inner light is being restored. Slowly, softly, but undeniably. Cancer, you have carried a lot. You have quietly endured a lot. You have processed a lot of things you never told anyone about. And the star is showing me that the universe is finally answering that quiet devotion with a sense of restoration. This restoration is not going to be dramatic. It's going to feel more like gently noticing that you're able to imagine your future again, or gently noticing that you feel lighter than you did last month, or gently noticing that hope is returning in small, warm waves that you cannot force, but you can absolutely receive. There's a psychological concept called cognitive hope reconstruction. It refers to the process by which a person begins rebuilding their internal expectation that positive things are possible for them. Research shows that this reconstruction is one of the most powerful emotional shifts a person can experience because it changes their entire orientation to life. The star is telling me that this reconstruction is beginning in you. Here's a practical suggestion. When a hopeful thought crosses your mind, don't dismiss it. Don't call it unrealistic. Don't feel guilty for feeling optimistic. Let the thought stay. Let it grow. Because the star is asking you to allow hope to return into you slowly and beautifully. Now let's move to the Two of Cups. Cancer, this card is one of the most tender cards in the entire deck. It represents mutual connection, emotional reciprocity, and the meeting of two hearts in aligned understanding. In your near future, this card is telling me that a deeper connection is coming into your life. This may take the form of romance, but it may also take the form of friendship, professional partnership, or even a deeper connection with yourself. The Two of Cups is about resonance, about meeting someone or something that reflects your energy back to you in a nourishing way. Cancer, you are a sign that deeply values connection. You show up, you listen, you care, you commit. And the Two of Cups is telling me that in your near future, that quality of connection is going to be met with someone who understands it and returns it. There is a psychological concept called emotional resonance. It refers to the felt experience of being seen, understood, and matched by another person. Research shows that emotional resonance is one of the strongest predictors of long-term relational satisfaction and personal well-being. The Two of Cups is telling me that your capacity for emotional resonance is going to be recognized in your near future. Here's a practical suggestion. When a new connection begins to feel meaningful, don't downplay it. Let yourself notice it. Let yourself lean into it. Because meaningful connection is one of the most nourishing forces in your life, and your near future is offering more of it. And now the final card of this reading, the World. Cancer. The World is the ultimate card of completion in the tarot deck. It represents the closing of a long chapter, the fulfillment of a long-term journey, the moment when a person can finally exhale because something significant has come full circle. In your near future, this card is telling me that a chapter you've been walking through for a long time is about to reach its completion. Not all of your life, not everything at once, but a specific chapter, a specific emotional journey, a specific inner process. The World is telling me that you're moving into a new phase where you get to look back and finally see what all of the previous experiences were preparing you for. Cancer, you're stepping into a new season of your life, a new version of yourself, a new orientation to your future. And this transition is meaningful, it's earned, it's grounded, it's real. There's a psychological concept called developmental completion. It refers to the moment when a person feels that a significant developmental process has reached its natural conclusion, allowing them to enter a new phase with more clarity and integration. Research shows that developmental completion is one of the most stabilizing experiences a person can have because it creates space for new identity formation. The World is telling me that your near future is going to give you an experience of developmental completion. Here's a practical suggestion. When you feel that sense of completion arrive, take a moment to honor it, journal about it, speak it out loud to yourself. Say, I have finished this chapter, and I am proud of what I have become. That single sentence is the ceremony that seals the world energy into your life. So look at what these three cards are telling you together. The Star is restoring your hope. The Two of Cups is deepening your connection. And the World is completing a meaningful chapter. This is a beautiful and healing closing to your reading, Cancer. Now let's tie everything together. Across all 9 cards, the arc of your near future looks like this. You are being called into deliberate forward motion. You are being invited to metabolize something emotional. You are being handed a new grounded beginning. You are being asked to embody more structure and authority. You are being called into an honest emotional realization. You are seeing early signs of long-term stability. Your hope is being restored. Your connections are deepening. And a meaningful chapter is coming to completion. Cancer, this is a beautiful and layered near future. It is not chaotic. It is not overwhelming. It is not confusing. It is significant. And it is exactly what your soul has been quietly asking for. If you take one message from today's reading, let it be this. You are entering a chapter of soft, meaningful transformation, a chapter of grounded evolution, a chapter of becoming more yourself. And Cancer, that is exactly the kind of transformation your soul thrives on. If this reading resonated with you today, I would love to hear from you. Drop the word integration in the comments if you felt seen. It helps me know which energies are landing. And honestly, it helps to know we're walking through this together. If you found value in today's reading, consider subscribing for more readings like this one. Take care of your energy this week. Protect your peace. Stay rooted in who you are. And remember, Cancer, you are exactly where you need to be. Until next time.